All right, this is the duodenum. And these are what they call the Brunner's glands. And up here are what they call the lubricant glands. Well, I can see all these in the earth, in the details of the karst formations. Let's take a look at karst. All right, this is karst. Remember I showed you those Brunner's glands, those little balls of globby looking stuff? Then this goes up to spikes. Let's look at that. Okay, so this is the karst that is in Madagascar. And this was on the Science Channel. I'm just going to play it for a second until we get to the...
If one wanted to stay hidden, the impenetrable singy stone forest is the...
See, this is the same stuff. This is exactly what you see in that over there. You see that? It's exactly the same. Now, the lower the Brunner glands, those little balls down at the bottom there, I believe I showed you. And you'll find these around. People will look around and you'll dig and you'll find these exact same things. And then the other areas in the digestive system are very easy to see because they're so outstanding, and and there's a lot of housing and so forth. I think that I forget what the name of it is. The one that has all the holes in it. Can't remember. But anyway, everybody's built on these creatures throughout history. Okay, my friends, this is going to be fun. This is Madagascar. And what are we looking at here? Well, to me, we're looking at biology. Now, look at this. I'm going over here looking at this for the karst formations. However, as I started looking, I'm seeing all of this, and I understand what I'm looking at here to some degree. This is where you see these are like abrupt transitions of cellular biology. Now, I don't know whether this is plant life or whether this is animal life. I believe it's some kind of an animal, and I believe these are organs discharging their fluids in certain ways. And I've looked at it. It's extremely interesting. And then there's these karst formations. But look at this. That's not, look at that. Just think about this for a minute. Look at this. Now, I'm going to be showing you a bunch of other stuff that I have here, anatomy books and so forth, that give some kind of a definition to the things we're seeing. You see how all this stuff branches out? All these like little branching looking things, they didn't just happen there by accident. Those are drainage little and feeders that feed like bile ducts and things like that. I'm serious. This is some kind of gigantic creature's landscape here that is from some creature that was here. I cannot explain how these things were this big and how the planet is this small. It is the size it is now. That is not in question, please. The Earth is what it is now. What it was in the past, I can't tell you. Where these creatures came from, I cannot tell you. I have been reading all of the ancient texts of Titans and Olympians and all of the things and the dragons and all of that stuff, and it just seems to be like... It seems to be pretty damn accurate, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't find any other possibility that can account for these things. Because this is not just here on Earth either. And, as above, so below. I mean, it's just basically, that's what I'm finding. It's not just there either. It's everywhere on the Earth. Look this. This is not natural. What's going on here? This is organic. This is organs doing a job, and that's Africa. And this up here is a gigantic dragon and a gigantic fish. I've shown it bazillion times. I think that's a word. That is the bazillionth time I've shown the fish being attacked by the gigantic dragon that's right above him here. spitting this stuff on a fish's fin, and a gigantic dragon rotting in a desert, giving off its effluent of bodily fluids, which are red and black, which indicate a red-blooded creature. And it was, I have done the anatomy on this, and she's gone through the digestive system, and it had a cloaca, which means that it is an avian creature. I'd have to go back digging through my details here, but I think it's down in this area somewhere. That's a cloacal flap somewhere in this area. And then the dragon's tail runs all the way back here. I mean, it is what it is. So now we're going to start looking at these things with Mudfossil Eyes. And when you go and visit these caves and all this stuff, now you got something to look at. We're going to go through all the caves, all of these different, 15 best caves, unexplained this, fantastic, unexplained that. Well, let's see if we can explain some stuff. Okay, my wonderful friends. Now, what we're going to do is start to look at human anatomy, because this is a human anatomy book. I mean, anatomy is anatomy. This is human anatomy. I can't vouch for other anatomy. I don't know other anatomy that well. However, I believe that most of the things on the earth that we are looking at that are biological, absolutely gigantic, are either dragons or humans. I can't explain it, but I'm telling you, that's what I have found. I found scaly creatures, and I found things that certainly represent humans and are absolutely certainly humans. Mine are. They're DNA certified. Now, what we're going to be looking at is like the small intestine here. See this number 3, small intestine. These spikes that are all over you see them all over the earth. Nobody can explain them. This is one possibility. There's others. We're going to look at some other anatomy here. This book is very, very, very detailed. Now, something I want you to remember. I do a lot in the digestive system, and this is the digestive system right here. Now, an adult body has a digestive system, obviously we do, but the fetal digestive system does not have a digestive function from birth. You don't have one when you're born. You have to rely on it's called the hematopoietic function. You see how big the liver is? It's gigantic. It says the stomach and intestine are reduced, while the liver, with its hematopoietic function, is proportionally much more developed. The liver is the cleaner of the blood. You're not really eating when you're a kid. You don't eat a whole bunch of stuff. All you're doing is cleaning fluids. And that's what that does, is clean the fluids. You're not eating a lot of, solid foods. Now, this is what I want to, what was this about? Let me see. Although the colon might not be very important in digestive process, however, important in the production of vitamins. And here it is right here, the bacterial flora, and it reabsorbs fluids. Now, and that's the colon. The bacterial flora, that's the key. That's what I found in everything. But anyway, see these structures? Very, very detailed book. I love this book. And I studied the whole damn thing, and it's very, very interesting. Well, these are some of the different, it really gets to the depth and the details of all of the different depths of tissue. You see this? You see that? I don't know if you can see all that. No, you can't. Hold on. Maybe you can. All right. Let's see what this is. This is the stomach. The thin layer of gastric mucosa, which covers the entire internal surface of the stomach, prevents the mucosa from digesting itself. All right, so what happens is, if you don't have the right bacteria to create the right enzymes, to create the right products, to coat the membranes with mucosa, they're going to be evaded. And it's going to digest itself. The stomach is richly vascularized and Oh, what's this down here now? I highlight little things. You see how these highlight things? These are all things that I go back and look at, because most of the other stuff doesn't make much sense. Once it arrives to the pylorus, the food itself stimulates the production of gastric juices, and the pyloric mucosa secretes a hormone, gastrin, and I guarantee you that is an enzyme which keeps the glands of the stomach active. Now, what does it say over here? Gastric ulcers. The continuity of the stomach mucosa, the walls of the affected area, are exposed to the erosive action of hydrochloric acid and of digestive enzymes. These are things that digest in your food. They're going to digest you if you don't have something in between you and the food and the juices. And that's another enzyme. So the result is a formation of an inflamed area of unprotected mucosa. I've been talking about this. I forgot all about this, to be perfectly honest. This goes back years ago that I studied this. But here it is right here. Muscular tunica. Tunic. I always talk about the tunica, they called it. Anyway, digestion inside the stomach. I'm just going to read these because apparently they were important to me for some reason. Preliminary digestion of proteins occurs inside the stomach thanks to activity of pepsins, an enzyme that catalyzes the hydrolysis of the peptic bonds between the, and he goes on and on and on. Here it is again, this enzymes. It can digest in 1 hour an amount of proteins 1,000 times higher than its weight. This is interesting because this enzyme says it can digest 1,000 times its weight. Well, guess what? It says in the research that one single catalase molecule can break down 10 million other molecules instantly. Now, and that only may be 1,000 times its weight because the catalase molecule is very complex compared to the hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, that it's breaking down. It might have thousands of molecules that are attacking that one small molecule. So the weight difference might be right. It probably is, because I think they just say catalase. Well, it's 1,000 times higher than its weight. Just let's go with that. Inside the stomach of newborns, the digestion of proteins is assisted by another enzyme, remnant, or zymosis, which causes the coagulation of milk. Therefore, it remains longer inside the gastric juice, allowing for the pepsin to break down the protein. Now, it's enzymes. And enzymes are only created from bacteria. They know this. This is not a mystery. There's no mystery here. No. This is where we're going to go a little deeper into the actual structures. You see these structures? I don't know if you can from where you are. Hold on. This is, like I said, this is extremely detailed book. And we are going to get into extreme details of the Earth because you can see, I could see these tiniest details on the face of the Earth. You're going to see this same structure in a minute in Madagascar, probably. I believe it's the same structure. Now here's some more. Enzymes of the pancreatic juices. Gallstones. Secretions of the liver. Bile. Inflammation, bacterial infections, problems with the gallbladder. Most common problem remains that of the gallstones. And that's because they are not being broken down. The stones are accumulating because the enzyme is supposed to go down and smack them up isn't there. What else I got? Oh, here it is. Carboxypeptidase. It catalyzes the hydrolysis of the peptic bonds of the COH molecule terminals. All of this stuff is now fallen into into place. I understand it now. I understand what's going on. I understand the chemistry. I understand the protective devices that the body uses. And I understand the different chemistry that's being pushed in through the liver and the pancreas and the, all your different little organs here, the spleen and the gallbladder and so forth. They all contribute to the way the blood is stabilized. All right, let's go with that. Because once the blood gets out of sync, in any manner, the pH gets too high, too low, bacteria gets too high, too low, whatever the condition is, it's got to be homeostasis. It's got to be continuously harmonious. Boom, 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 boom. No, it doesn't work. That works. Now, we're going to look at all of the details of all of this different architecture in the body, the anatomy. Absolutely fascinating. To me, I know there's other people who have absolutely no interest whatsoever. I do. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be looking at and trying to understand what we're seeing on the earth, because people are going to be going, now you got a whole new set of eyes. Now that you can look and see and understand, everything is there's so much detail to the body. It's absolutely amazing. And we get way back here in the back. I had a fire here, see this? You can still see the darkness from the fire. Anyway, back here somewhere we were going to be looking at, I think no, not there. Here. I think it's up in this area and in the kidneys. Can you see this? All right. This kidney stuff here, I believe, is a lot of what we're going to be looking at in Madagascar. This whole area in here is very, very detailed. You see it over here? There's a lot of little anatomical features that nobody's ever seen, really, unless you got a book like this. You don't see these things. They don't show it that way. They show a big thing like this and a couple little lobes. This has every single feature that is in every single organ. This book is absolutely fabulous, stunning, and it was cheap. I can't remember, but I don't tell you, it was cheap. I think you can still get them too, and I think they're cheap because nobody ever wanted them. Yeah, I just saw this is still on Amazon here. They're showing it, and it's a great book. It's unbelievable. Per pound, it's one of the cheapest books you can buy. The thing is huge. They call them the Taj Big Books. We saw how big it was. Maybe you didn't see the perspective, but it is big, and it is heavy, and it is thick, and there's a ton of pages, and it's really good quality paper. I can't imagine how they could do it for that price, to be perfectly honest, but if you need, if you're going to do the kind of stuff I do, you need to have something like that. Otherwise, you're going to be searching your whole life online for pictures of this and that, and you're never going to find them to the perfect exquisiteness and detail that's in this book. You're just never going to see this again.